HelloFresh takes the guesswork and the extra hassle out of planning and preparing delicious meals for dinner. America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh gives you over 40 recipes to choose from each week. And then your farm-fresh, pre-portioned seasonal ingredients arrive at your doorstep with simple instructions to help you feel like the master chef of your kitchen. And did you know that HelloFresh is cheaper than grocery shopping and 25% less expensive than takeout? HelloFresh has been an awesome addition to our household's dinner routine. We all get involved and cook together, following the pictured step-by-step instructions. It's a fun quality time and the meals are delicious. Give it a try and see for yourself. Go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall for 50% off plus free shipping. Again, to get 50% off plus free shipping, go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Are you looking to really accelerate your personal growth? If so, go to my website and download the free Abundance Benchmark. It's going to give you some amazing feedback on where you're stuck in life. Again, it's totally free, and you can grab yours right now at MatthewBivens.com. Welcome to Having It All. My name is Matthew Bivens, and each week I bring you conversations and insights that explore the question, what does having it all mean to you? My goal is to leave you with stories you can relate to and messages you can take action on so that you can create an abundant, loving life. I am so excited that you're here to hang out with me today. Now, let's jump right into this episode. Today's episode is going to be an amazing one because we are doing another epic challenge. And today I have the supreme pleasure of sitting next to my amazing, beautiful, wonderful friend, Kelly Lynn Prime. Kelly, how are you being today?
I am being awesome. Thank you. Thanks
Sweet.
for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, thank you. And tell the listeners out there where we are recording right now.
We are in Marietta, Georgia.
Yes.
Next to the Bivens residence.
Yes.
In the family car.
Yes, we're recording this episode from the car, and the reason is because my wife Sarah and I are 9 months and 39 weeks pregnant, and the wonderful women of the community that we're a close part of have gifted us with a house cleaning. And so right now, 3 amazing women are inside cleaning our house top to bottom. And as a result, we didn't want any vacuum cleaners and stuff like that in the recording, so we moved to the car, which is cool because it's kind of built like a studio. I mean, it's basically a soundproof area, and we get to sit closer and relax. So it's awesome. It all works.
Yes, it does.
So what we're doing today, Kelly, as you know, for the listeners out there, this is an epic challenge episode. So this is an episode where Kelly is really going to open up and share a current epic challenge that she's experiencing. And then she'll go into a little bit of the feedback that she received. Because Kelly and I are in the same weekly accountability group, the same COI or Circle of Influence. And so Kelly received some feedback from our group recently. I think it was like 2 weeks ago.
No, it was 1 week ago.
It was 1 week ago. Okay. So 1 week ago was when we went over your epic challenge. So it's very recent history. And I'm excited to get into it. And so for the new listener out there, an epic challenge is really an area in your life where you are stuck. You're stuck in your understanding. You're stuck in your ability to create something new. And as a result, you continue to have breakdowns. So it's a place where you might just be hitting your head against the wall, frustrated because you can't break through. Or it's a place where you're realizing that, you know, the things that you're experiencing or the results that you're creating are not truly what you want to experience. And so you would like to experience something different. Now, an epic challenge can occur in any area of life. It can be with your family, with your friends, with your relationships, sex, money, career, play, anything. Epic challenge, there are no boundaries, nothing is off limits, and no area is immune. So, Kelly, we'll get into your epic challenge, but I'm trying to think. Is now a great time to talk about something you brought up, which was the anxiety around epic challenge, or maybe let's talk about it now.
I think now is a great time to talk about it because before we started recording, I shared that epic challenge during COI. Like I get anxiety around it because I know I'm going to get feedback that I might not want to hear, and I will often come out of it with quote unquote hurt feelings. So, but here's what's interesting is I shared that with you, and I really felt that tightness in my heart and in my gut. But now that I've talked about it, I'm okay, let's do this. Yeah. So that's part of an epic challenge is we hold on to so many things that are challenging, and instead of expressing it and talking about it and sharing it and getting it out, we hold on to it and harbor it inside. So that in and of itself can be healing.
Absolutely. And I think part of the anxiety that you have felt, as recently as last week, and that I've certainly felt, is knowing that the group is going to help to really help you extract that stuff and to look at it in a very honest way, in a very intimate way, and sometimes in a confronting way. And so I know for myself, I've definitely felt like when I'm receiving feedback, especially from certain people in the group, when I'm receiving feedback, I'm like, my ego just gets big, and I have to remind myself, okay, that's because it's the truth, so it's powerful. And let's paint a picture real quick of what a set the scene for what the epic challenges that we've experienced look like. So it's we're in someone's living room typically, and it's a potluck style meeting, so we're enjoying food, and then it typically works where we go around in the circle, every week we go on somebody else's. So there's 7 people, so that's 7 weeks you're doing your epic challenge.
But it's also the last thing that we do in the evening. True. So it's when your turn is coming up, it's kind of okay, it's coming.
And you wonder, okay, is this going to be one of those real intense epic challenges, or
sometimes we'll get to that point and someone might decide, okay, well, we're gonna do this instead, and that week you might be like, whew, I got another week before I have to go into this. So
which is interesting because I think we've all experienced breakthrough and growth from an epic challenge, so it's almost like we're relieved that we don't have to get into growth, because growth can be fucking scary.
It is scary sometimes, but then when you have that time to marinate on it on the other side and have some private conversations with different folks, it's a totally different it's a different vibe, it's a different experience on the other side of it when you get to just let it settle inside. So it stirs up all this energy, and then it settles, and then it's almost like you can look at it more objectively and without that emotion attached to it.
Yeah, I hear you. So I think now is a great time to jump into your epic challenge, Kelly. So let's first start by, I would love for you to, as succinctly as possible, state your epic challenge. And actually, I think you have it written down.
I do.
So you want to go ahead and read it?
Yes, I will. So my epic challenge is, who do I need to be to release Who do I need to be to release self-judgment and the inner critic that speaks untruths and surrender to cultivating and harvesting bountiful crops of unconditional love of self, inside and outside?
Wow. HelloFresh takes the guesswork and the extra hassle out of planning and preparing delicious meals for dinner. America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh gives you over 40 recipes to choose from each week. And then your farm-fresh, pre-portioned seasonal ingredients arrive at your doorstep with simple instructions to help you feel like the master chef of your kitchen. And did you know that HelloFresh is cheaper than grocery shopping and 25% less expensive than takeout? HelloFresh has been an awesome addition to our household's dinner routine. We all get involved and cook together, following the pictured step-by-step instructions. It's a fun quality time and the meals are delicious. Give it a try and see for yourself. Go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall for 50% off plus free shipping. Again, to get 50% off plus free shipping, go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall.
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want?
I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now, get free shipping with your new Bartesian when you go to Bartesian.com/cocktail. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for weddings, holidays, birthdays, or for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. And right now, get free shipping with your Bartesian purchase at Bartesian.com/cocktail. Go to BARTESIAN.com/cocktail and your home cocktail maker ships for free. That's Bartesian.com/cocktail.
All right, I'm gonna have you read it one more time, just so that everyone out there can really hear that again, because there's a lot packed into that statement.
Who do I need to be to release self-judgment and the inner critic that speaks untruths and surrender to cultivating and harvesting bountiful crops of unconditional love of self, inside and outside?
Now, why is this an epic challenge for you?
This is an epic challenge for me because within COI, we do consciousness ratings, and we do that it's self, others, and life. And others in life in my consciousness rating have been higher than the self part. So when I want a higher self rating, I want my consciousness to expand. And I also know that part of what is connected to my epic challenge has to do with my relationship with myself, and that is my game day feedback. So I recently took a game day, which is a fitness assessment, and my game day score went down as well. It went down in my first quarter, which is body composition. And the body composition is directly related to, are you relating to yourself from a lens of judgment and fear, or are you relating to yourself through a lens of love? So that feedback in and of itself, I had already written this epic challenge. So once you put the information out there, the universe starts bringing pieces together for you to look at. So, did I answer the question?
Yeah, I mean, it sounded like this is epic for you because this is about self-love and how you feel about yourself. And when you talk about the consciousness rating, just to give you, the listener, some context, It's essentially how other people are experiencing you. So when it comes to self, other people were experiencing you a little bit lower than they were
in how I relate to myself.
And how you relate to yourself.
Yes.
And how you relate to other people or how you relate to life. So what that was saying is when you're dealing with other people, because you're an energy healer, and you're a trainer and a coach. And so when you're working with other people, you have this amazing ability to connect and amazing ability to be nurturing and non-judgmental and extremely loving. But then that wasn't coming back to you. And that was the feedback that you were receiving in the group.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so that's why I understand the reason why this is an epic challenge for you is because you want that's the same way that you treat other people and the compassion you hold for other people, you want to be able to hold that for yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think that's certainly epic.
I think that a lot of people experience that. So I want to become more of a master of self, and the more I master self, I will be able to take that growth and that healing of self, and it gives me an even greater capacity to serve others.
It's powerful. I think that's relatable to just about anyone. Like, Sarah and I are about to become parents, and so the more that we can master ourselves and love and be compassionate towards ourselves, I believe just enhances how we're able to do that with Maya. So that's amazing. So what areas of your life were you really feeling your epic challenge most?
Just in my everyday thoughts. It's that voice that tells you ain't shit. That voice that tells you, well, who do you think you are? You can't do that. That shit. I'm through. I'm through with that. Well, I would like to be through with that. I'm planning to be through with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, is there a situation or an environment where that voice is louder than other places?
Well, I'm an entrepreneur, so that voice comes through in things related to business, related to everyday life. So I feel like, yeah, it comes through in that area. I think that's the main.
Yeah.
That's the main area.
Which I imagine is huge to have that sort of inner voice that's telling you ain't shit when you're trying to build a business. I mean, that's like when I think of the entrepreneurs that I'm inspired by simply because of their attitude towards entrepreneurship. They're the ones who are like, yeah, I am the shit. I think of like a Mark Cuban, you know what I mean? Like that guy is just full of confidence, or maybe some people call it ego or bravado or whatever it is, but his inner voice probably isn't saying I ain't shit. So I imagine that it's challenging in that respect.
I had a business coach tell me that she would plan these public events, and she said that there was not one single time that she had planned an event where the voice did not say to her, well, nobody's going to show up at your event.
Oof, wow.
But the difference is whether you are moving through that and telling the voice to go sit down and be quiet, or telling the voice to fuck off and moving through the fear versus allowing that fear to really just encompass you and paralyze you.
What have you done?
I've let it paralyze me.
And what does that look like?
It looks like inaction. It looks like procrastination. It looks like not pursuing things that I really would like to do, because I'm afraid that I will screw it up, or it won't be good enough, so why even give it a try?
It's real. Yeah, it's an epic challenge.
Indeed.
Cool. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to get into some of the feedback that you received, some of the specifics. So we will be right back. You've just been listening to someone boldly and honestly share their current epic challenge. But I know right now there is an area in your life in which you are stuck and would like to experience a breakthrough. If that sounds like you, then I'm inviting you to join me on the podcast so that we can explore your epic challenge together. Having been on both sides of epic challenges for almost 3 years now, I know that it takes courage, transparency, and accountability to create a breakthrough. I'm willing to hold a space for you to create a new result if you're willing to step into it. So to nominate yourself to join me on the podcast, just hop over to my website, MatthewBivens.com, click on the tab that says Epic Challenge, and drop me your information. When you experience a breakthrough, we all win. So if you're finally ready to create a new result in your life, then submit your epic challenge today. We are back here with Kelly Lynn Prime. We're talking about your epic challenge. And before we get into stage 2, I want you to once again read your epic challenge because it is freaking powerful and relatable, and you did such an amazing job of writing it down. That can be an epic challenge in itself, just to, like, as we've experienced, just to truly identify what it is that you are challenged by. Because sometimes we've experienced in COI, like, somebody will say their epic challenge is, gaining new clients. Why don't my clients stick around for more than a month? But then you really get down to the nitty gritty, and it's about something like self-love and that inner voice. So share with me one more time the epic challenge that you are experiencing.
Who do I need to be to release self-judgment and the inner critic that speaks untruths and surrender to cultivating and harvesting bountiful crops of unconditional love of self inside and outside?
Boom. All right. So now I would love for you to share some of the feedback that you received just last week while we were, you had the whole group's focus and energy and love going into your epic challenge.
Well, it was funny. Just a minute ago, I asked you, did I fully answer your question? Because that was some feedback that I got, was that I don't fully answer questions, that I will bring in a tangent and deflect what is really being asked. So that's what prompted that response, because I felt like I was like, okay, am I answering the question, or am I just babbling? So that was a piece of feedback that I got. Some of the other feedback that I got was around I felt very defensive. I felt like a victim. I felt like everybody was against me, and Donna was able to point out, she said, I can see that all of your defenses are up, but what you're receiving right now is feedback that is in love, and you're not. You're deflecting and keeping the love that is being given to you out. So, let's see, what else?
Well, that's an interesting one. The first thing that came to mind when you said that was, I wonder if that happens only in your epic challenge. Keeping the love that's being given to you or offered to you out. Like, are there other areas where you feel that when you're vulnerable, because that's what happens in an epic challenge, you can feel vulnerable. Something goes up so that you don't have to feel that love that's there.
I'm sure that I'm sure that's true, but I cannot think of a specific example of that right now. But I'm sure if I meditate on that there would be some specific examples.
Something to marinate on.
Absolutely.
So I know some of the feedback you received, because I actually talked about it in a recent podcast episode, but I'll hold on to that and let you continue to share.
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead with your...
Okay, so I'll go on a quick tangent. One of the reasons why I wanted to introduce this segment into the podcast, into Having It All, is because I've sat through 2.5 years of weekly COI meetings. I've been in this type of accountability group for over 2 years, and we've done epic challenges just about every one of those meetings. And most of them have not been my own. For most of those epic challenges, I've simply been observing and providing feedback. And I cannot tell you the amount of personal breakthroughs I've had simply by watching somebody else go through an epic challenge. So that's what I wanted to deliver to the listeners, is the ability to hear somebody go through an epic challenge so that they can experience a breakthrough through someone else's breakthrough. So when I was listening to your epic challenge last week, the piece of feedback that really hit me, that I was like, shit, I do that. And it was so easy for me to bring up examples of me doing it, was you remember the sadness and the shitty things and the things that didn't go your way, but you forget the great things. The moments when you were excited, the moments of beauty, the moments of feeling peace. So you remember the crappy ones and you forget the amazing ones. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of examples of that came up. But for me personally, I was like, wow, I do that and I am doing that. And so that was a piece of feedback that I think it was Day who gave you that feedback. And I was like, yes, I experienced you like that as well. At times, like, the oming was an example. Mm-hmm. Was an easy one. But what was it like to receive that feedback?
I totally see that. But it's also that is an imprint of how I was raised as a kid too. That I did very well in school. I was a great singer. I was a great dancer. I played sports. I did all these things, and I was pretty decent at all of it. And there was not now my parents were great about showing up and being supportive, but there wasn't that verbal feedback of you did a great job, or that was awesome, or your performance was fantastic. But should there have been any type of mistake? The mistake is what was highlighted. So you could have had the performance of your life, but your voice shook at the 30-second point. So that's what was zeroed in on, is that your voice shook at that 30-second point. So you need to do that better next time. So instead of looking at everything as a whole, and the beauty and the excellence in the whole, the little mistakes, it was like picking at a scab.
Yeah, that's amazing, because that was like the exact feedback. Ain't that some shit though? Some stuff that happened when you were a little kid.
Yep, and we attach to it and we carry it with us through our whole life until we get an opportunity like this to be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
That's that shit. Okay. Yes, I am choosing to be more aware of that and choose differently. Choose to relate to it differently. creating other ways of relating to those circumstances. And that also came up earlier this spring. I was with it was a Yaya's meeting. It was in April, and we listened to an Abraham recording, and Abraham said almost the exact same thing, that there is, and I think that physical pain was focused on. And even with physical pain, like if I have pain in my shoulder, that is a small part of my totality as an energetic being. That pain in my shoulder. So what is that? 2% of your entire body and entire beingness, but we will focus on that and allow it to overshadow the 98% of our body that is functional and completely like awesome.
Why don't more infant formula companies use organic, grass-fed whole milk instead of skim? Why don't more infant formula companies use the latest breast milk science? Why don't more infant formula companies run their own clinical trials? Why don't more infant formula companies use more of the proteins found in breast milk? Why don't more infant formula companies have their own factories instead of outsourcing their manufacturing? We wondered the same thing. So we made ByHeart, an infant formula company on a mission to get a lot closer to the most superfood on the planet, breast milk. Our patented protein blend has more of the important and most abundant proteins actually found in breast milk. We're the first and only U.S.-made formula to use organic, grass-fed whole milk, not skim. We even conducted the largest clinical trial by a new infant formula company in a quarter century, with clinically proven benefits like easier digestion, less spit up, and softer poops versus a leading infant formula. And we make our own formula in the USA and our very own factories in Iowa, Oregon, and Pennsylvania. ByHeart, a better formula for formula. Learn more at byheart.com. Breast milk science. It's a thing, and it's our thing. We're ByHeart. We're an infant formula company on a mission to get a lot closer to the most superfood on the planet, breast milk. Our patented protein blend has more of the important and most abundant proteins found in breast milk. We're the first and only U.S.-made formula to use organic, grass-fed whole milk, not skim. We make our formula in our own factories in Iowa, Oregon, and Pennsylvania, using a small batch manufacturing process that works to preserve the integrity of our ingredients. We ran the largest clinical trial by a new infant formula company in 25 years, and clinically proved benefits like easier digestion, less gas, and softer poops versus a leading infant formula. We were the first infant formula company to earn the Clean Label Project Purity Award. And while we've put a lot into ByHeart, there's a long list of things you won't see on our ingredient list, like no corn syrup, no maltodextrin, no GMO ingredients, no soy, no palm oil. ByHeart, a better formula for formula. Learn more at byheart.com.
So why have you been focusing on the 2% that wasn't awesome? Like why have you been focusing on the sadness, the guilt, the shame, as opposed to the other parts?
Well, that's related to self-worth. When you don't feel like you are worth all of the beautiful and lovely part of yourself, if you don't see the value in that, why would you focus on that, and how can you focus on that? It's like speaking a foreign language.
And so that's
it just doesn't.
Yeah.
It just misses you every time.
So that's what you've experienced.
Yes.
Yeah, Kelly, I think your epic challenge is very, very relatable to a lot of people. I know I've definitely experienced and continue to, and am working on my self-love and body image things and all sorts of really interesting beliefs I want to hold on to. Let's continue with some feedback. We have our notes in front of us. Let's get one more piece of feedback. Some holy crap piece of feedback that just made your body heat up and your gaze go to the floor because you just couldn't stand to look at anybody. What comes up?
Well, it's actually it was actually feedback that you gave that I actually received it. I received your feedback from a place of love, which was great. It was that I search for a whole bunch of things to do to deflect from how I'm feeling about myself, instead of focusing on like a small thing that I can accomplish. So, and that was working on budget and finance is directly related to self-value. So I set up a budget spreadsheet. Probably, well, it was in July. And so I spent the whole month of August not doing my budget. So you brought that up, and you said that you thought it was really interesting that something as simple as getting the envelopes and checking my budget once a week was something that I had not done. And I was like, yep. So I bought my envelopes yesterday.
That's freaking awesome.
So that is one action that I did take, and that has made me feel great. Like, yes, I accomplished that, and it was one of my SMART goals for this week as well. So
yeah, you got yourself a simple win.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I thought was really interesting about that piece of feedback that I gave you was, again, it's very relatable. Like, there are simple things that we all can do that we probably know, are in our hearts, in our souls, like little things that we could be doing to help improve our situation. Yet, for whatever reason, they haven't. I don't know if it's like a connection thing, like we have to connect with it, or we have to connect that action to a bigger why, to a bigger purpose, but we won't do it, and we'll seek out a bunch of other new things. Like, that's what I heard in you. You were talking about a new healer you were going to go visit, a new group you were going to participate in, a new this, a new that, when something that was advice, simple advice given to you from a coach, you weren't doing. And I thought, once again, it's like a chance to relate it back to myself, but specifically for you, it was like, do that simple thing that you already verbally committed to, because I imagine, and it was around finance, which is value, so that was pretty profound for me. I'm happy that it resonated with you, and I'm super happy that you got your envelopes. That's going to be some magic we'll share later on tonight.
Yeah, I talked about it last night a little bit at COI, or not, conversation.
That's awesome. So let's shift into specific actions that you, first of all, specific actions that were recommended you take, and then you can talk about the ones that you have taken, because again, your Epic Challenge is very fresh. We did yours just 7 days ago, so there might be some things that you're still planning on getting into, or they're on your schedule, but what were the specific actions recommended by the group for you to take?
Well, the first one was to get the envelopes, and that was one of my my SMART goals for the week.
So the envelopes are to help with essentially the organizing of your cash and how you spend your cash. Mm-hmm. And so it's
my monthly budget.
It's a way for you to budget yourself. Cool. So you've got your envelopes. What was another action?
Well, another action that was recommended, I mentioned previously, and that was practice rephrasing questions when they're asked so that I can answer more clearly and succinctly. So I feel like I was practicing that earlier in our conversation. I was like, okay, I want to make sure I'm answering the question.
I'm curious, where do you think that for you comes from? Because what that feedback was is when a question is asked of you or to you, you might come across somewhat confused, or when you answer the question, you sort of dance around it and don't answer the specific question itself. Where does that come from? Or what's going on in those cases?
Well, there was talk about my level of confidence, in that my level of confidence is low with certain scenarios, and this was another piece of feedback. Was I have been teaching yoga on Sundays for the last 6 or 7 weeks, and after the first class, I used my notes, and Day recommended that I not use the notes, and I continued to use the notes until this past week. So that was another action that I took, is I went note free. It was really interesting because before I got that feedback, I was subbing for another class last Wednesday, and I realized that I left my notes at home. And in that moment, I was like, but I didn't even sweat it, because I was like, it was literally like 5 seconds. I was like, crap, I forgot my notes. And then I was like, I don't need my notes. So it was interesting that I got that feedback, because I had planned to start going note free in my class, because I felt like, okay, I've been doing this long enough. I know what my routine is. And so but that's also, that speaks to practice, that in order for something to become a habit, you actually have to practice it. Mm-hmm. You have to practice being in that energy and feeling what that feels like. And another thing that we talk about a lot is doing versus being. We think that if we do a whole bunch of stuff, that's going to make a difference, but it's of course action is energy, and that helps, but it's paying attention to the feelings that are created, that are deeper and beyond just the action, because you can go through the motions and not feel a thing. Yeah.
Well, what I think is cool about that is it reminds me of what I was talking to Sandy Chambers. We were doing her Epic Challenge, and one thing that Sandy talked about is how you show up in your moments of privacy where it's just you. So like the doing can be external, right? Like I'm doing all these things, I'm engaging with people, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Shouldn't I experience a shift? But then it's like, who are you? How do you treat yourself when it's just you? When you look at yourself in the mirror, are you saying, you dumb piece of shit, right? Like, are you still saying that despite the fact that you've been doing all that other stuff? And so I got the same type of feedback earlier. I remember that. And going back to what you're talking about with the practice, what I liked about what you shared is that after the feedback, it sort of got you in the mode of, okay, I can do this. And what lined up was the universe created an opportunity for you to teach yoga without your notes. Mm-hmm. So it's like you can practice, but at some point you got to take the swimmers off and just go into it. And
but it's not just teaching yoga, because at yoga I do Awakening the Game afterwards too, and like I am just like
that was more feedback. I remember that.
And the thing with that is,
that's funny.
Day and Shonda are at yoga every week, so I'm like, oh god, I have have to
do it perfectly.
Yeah. So I'm like putting this unneeded pressure on myself as well. And, you know, Day has actually complimented me at times that if I do make a mistake in yoga, that I don't apologize for it. I just keep it moving. So he's given me that feedback
That's
too.
awesome.
So it's not like I'm gonna get a lashing if I mess it up. He would probably just help me out and correct me in the moment.
Yeah, and it would just flow. Oof, that's powerful, Kelly. Mm-hmm. Well, what I got from your action is that you really did get into action. You took the feedback of you needing clarification and you needing to feel more confident before you step into something, and you stepped into it. And you stepped into teaching and really relying on your genius and your intelligence, because it's there, and I imagine that's helped boost your confidence in a number of areas. And the other piece of what was the other piece of feedback? So sorry, what was the other action that you had? You had two. Oh, the envelopes. Mm-hmm. You got into that as well. And so I'm curious to see what's going to happen with your Epic Challenge as you continue to build momentum. Because you talked about a small win, like just getting those envelopes for you was a small win. Mm-hmm. And so I think that those small wins can lead to medium wins, can lead to big wins. So I'm curious. I want to check in with you a little bit down the road and see how you're still feeling about your Epic Challenge, and see what's come as a result of you being fucking bold and receiving feedback and humbling yourself to the feedback and taking it and running with it.
Taming the voice, not taming the energy, because I feel like it's the energy that propels us forward, but just taking the energy that is disempowering when it comes up and transmuting that and turning it around. What's on the other side of that?
Totally.
I mean, that's what I do in my work.
Yeah, that's true.
Isn't that what we do in a session?
It's absolutely what we do in a session.
We bring up, okay, what's the shit? Okay, we bring that shit up. Okay, it's sadness. Okay, it's fear. Okay, it's judgment. Okay, what's the opposite of that? What do we want to replace that with?
And you're amazing at that with other people.
Yeah.
That's your gift. And so you're what you're facing right now is using that on yourself, turning it inward. Well, Kelly, thank you so much for joining me. I super appreciate you, and I know the listeners do as well, because, like I said a few times, your Epic Challenge is relatable, and your transparency is inspiring. So I appreciate you, Kelly.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Hope to be here again.
Yep, we'll make it happen. Love you.
All right, love you too. Peace.
2 quick things before you leave. First, did you know that the Having It All podcast is a part of the Fireside Network? Yep, we are one of the esteemed shows that calls Fireside Network home. That means if you ever want to listen to a show outside of iTunes or Stitcher or whatever your favorite podcasting app is, all you need to do is visit firesidenetwork.com and under shows, select Having It All. From there, you can access all the episodes, see the show notes, learn about my guests, and more. Second, I am very excited to announce that my brand new website is live. Visit MatthewBivens.com and you can learn more about me, get plugged into an accountability group, and pick up some free content like the Abundance Benchmark. I am all about helping you not only identify what your ideal life looks like, but also helping you on your journey towards it. I want you to experience more abundance and love in your life. So, again, you can find out more information about all of that great stuff at MatthewBivens.com. Thank you once more for listening to the show, and here is to you having it all.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.